Hi there. The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez proudly welcomes our new sponsors. That's right, La Mexicana Tortilla Company. Oh boy, it'll bring you the greatest food and taste and service every time. Thank you to you and Flor de las Flores Dispensary, your go-to spot for care and good service. Thank you. Gracias for supporting our show and community. Really nice to hear that. Stay tuned and stay connected. To many travelers who venture through Chimayó, this is a familiar sight. The refurbishing of this 19th century family residence back in the day was home to the Jaramillo family. Hermenegildo, known as HM, and his lovely wife Trinidad, built this adobe structure which would be home to a precious family of 8. But as years passed and everyone gone, the home stood silent and time took its toll. But not for long, as Arturo Jaramillo would venture to Connecticut. For a young Chimayoso, well, he met the love of his life there. Mrs. J, thank you for submitting to this interview. I've known you so long, 1965 when I graduated from high school in Los Alamos, and you're still as beautiful as ever. And I've heard people, including my family, that you are the epitome of class and grace. That is meant from the bottom of my heart. You are a part of this community that loves you. And so, thank you for submitting to this interview. I'm really happy that as busy as you are, will talk to us and your fan club out there, and you have thousands. How many people have you met through your business? I can't imagine.
I know it's over 30,000 I've worked for because I had to do something one time. But it's thousands of people, which we never, we didn't know. We really had a dream.
Yeah.
And it was hard to get the banks to even consider us. They didn't, because I wasn't in the restaurant business. I knew accounting, and Mr. Jaramillo never was. And we wanted to restore this building, his grandpa's building, because he was so worried about what was going to happen to his house. But anyway, it's been every year. It's really amazing how many people would. And it was hard the first 5 years because it just was until the New Mexico magazine did a story in 1970. Yeah. And that went out. And then from then on, we grew and we expanded as much as we could. And people were so wonderful. And actually, Los Alamos was a big help because they would have a lot of visitors and they would bring them down here. And that was one thing when we did financial backgrounds where we would get people. We thought the church, people going the high road, but we never, and that was a big thing that helped us. All those people that had tours and guests that came, and they would bring them, and then they would come too to get off the hill. And that was nice. But that helped us a lot.
Let's back up the tape a little bit.
That's okay.
When you and Arturo met, Chimayoso went to Connecticut. That was part of the Navy, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, then he met the love of his life. And it went from there, huh?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, when you met him and how you decided, I'm from New Mexico, let's go there. And you visited often.
We visited before we moved here, yes. I was on vacation. 4 of us were down south. And he was in the Navy down there, and that's when I met him. But we just, we didn't think anything about it. And we corresponded for over 2 years, and he would come up to Connecticut. And then we got married in '53. And then we were both, he was out of the service in '54. So then we came out here our first time in '55. And so it was nice. We met everybody. I was a nervous wreck. I was telling my employer. I worked in a small company. We were like family, And my boss wanted to talk to me the night before I left, and I said, "I'm so scared, Mr. Blesso. I'm just frightened to go," because my help. They were saying you're going to have tarantulas, you're going to have snakes. And I said, I was, and he looked at me and he says, "Florence, you go and be yourself. just what you do here for us, you be yourself, and you will be fine. And it worked out.
Wonderful.
But then we came out here and we cooked. I cooked for his grandfather.
Wow.
We couldn't eat meat on Friday,
That's
remember?
right. That's right.
And we had to haul water from the ditch. Well, I never did that. Then I had this wood stove, and I had to make fish and stuff. That was really a tricky thing.
A learning experience?
I liked to cook, but and I was nervous, but and I just didn't have anything. But anyway, we got that done, and then the rest of the day until about 8 o'clock at night, we went through all these villages, and he was making me meet all the grandpa.
Yeah.
He wanted me to meet everybody from, so I said, okay, and I did. Of course I couldn't speak Spanish, and he could speak a little English,
Sure.
And Art knew, so we went and then.
He was the translator.
Yeah, and he was so good. And when we went back to Santa Fe, we hadn't eaten, right?
Right.
Well, on the way, they were still just making a 4-lane to Santa Fe. The road was.
That far back.
And Grandpa kept saying, put your high beams on, put your high beams on. And I didn't know what to do. I could see, but the poor thing. So finally, Art pulled over and he says, what's going on with you? And I told him, I says, Grandpa wants me to put the high beams on. He says, Grandpa, you come and ride with me. And then I follow it. And then we went to this little restaurant, don't ask me, I don't think it's there, ever been to eat at 9 o'clock at night. Red chili and eggs.
Red chili and eggs.
Let me tell you, I was so sick that night.
Bring the tons.
I was really sick. And I thought, dear God, I woke up all night and Art thought it was so funny. Oh, you just can't take the chili and all this. And my mother-in-law said, you okay? And I said, I don't feel good because we were going to go to El Rito in the morning. And I says, no, and I kept saying, dear God, I don't want to die here. I says, I don't want to die. Well, by morning, I got better, So we went to El Rito and had to pick up his nephew. Mm-hmm. And on the way home, guess who was sick? Art.
Oh,
I said, you know what? That's your problem. I says, and I don't care. Because you made so much fun of me, But anyway, so I got to meet family. We got to get into Los Alamos because his stepbrother was a guard there. It was really nice to see things. The whole family went.
Yeah.
So that was my first visit and meeting all the family. And it went well. I was okay with it. We drove back. And then Grandpa, I wrote to him in Spanish.
Yeah.
In present tense. I took classes at high school.
Yeah.
And he wrote to Art in English and helped me translate. And he says, if you move out here, I will build you a bathroom.
Oh, sweet.
My sister-in-law said, he didn't do that for us. She said, my mother-in-law said, he didn't do that for us. And I said, well, I don't know, But then anyway, we came back out in 55.
55.
And to see the family. He was going to have, we came for another visit. And my brother-in-law, who wanted to go to college and turned out to be a CPA, went back to Connecticut with us. And we went there, and he earned money to go to college and stayed with us for a year.
Wow.
Actually, I had 2 of them. And then that's what happened. So and I got they're like my family and my brothers and
close
sisters.
to them. You got close
really
to them.
close.
Well, you're easy to do that. I can see that for sure.
We really, we got along so good, and I learned a lot. I learned from people. I tell my staff, you are so fortunate. All these people who come from all over the world, talk to them. And you learn, listen. People, if you listen, you learn a lot of things. You don't have to go to school for everything, But,
that's for sure.
But I mean, it's important. I'm not saying it's not important.
Oh, it is.
But the only thing is I tell them that, but sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. Or they'll come and ask me, and I say, well, everything. No, but I've learned from people. And then when we came back in 57 because we were going to come for Christmas.
Yeah.
But Art's grandfather was having a cataract surgery in Denver, and he wasn't going to make it. So we drive out of here over Labor Day. My boss says, take off. Go ahead and go.
Yeah.
And we took our vacation then, and we spent, and it was really hard, and then we had the funeral and everything. And but then we went back, and then we came back in
63?
to live here, but we came back in 62. Okay. I'm trying to think. 63, no, yeah, it was about 61 or so.
In the 60s, for sure.
Early 60s, yeah.
Sure.
And then my brother-in-law got married. We came for the wedding. Yeah, so it had to be about 62 because Laura was 2 years old. Okay. But then they came out to visit us before we moved out here. And
What was the deciding factor? Not to interrupt you, but I'm just curious. You're a Connecticut rich girl over there with all the beautiful stuff and all. And here we go. My husband wants to take me to Connecticut. Did you get married there or here?
Did I live where?
Get married over there? Or
Over there at the Catholic church.
Okay,
Yeah.
now you want to
Yeah,
bring
the
him
school
up.
I went to, the
He
school
did.
I graduated from, and the
Yeah.
priest was our principal and all that. And it was, yeah, and I had the girls were, my maid of honor, flower girls,
sweet.
and my brother. But
So
it was,
here you are, and you saw this house that your Arturo's grandfather had, and it was left alone for the longest time, and
Yes.
it just went downhill.
Yeah, it did.
But you looked at this, and Arturo looked at this and said, "We've got to fix this up. You have a dream."
That's right. We said, no, let's think about it, and we did. I mean, the weeds were grown, and the sad part that they sold a lot of stuff from the house. Because nobody was taking care of it. Everybody was in Santa Fe, couldn't come, so, yeah.
I
we
came,
thought-
let me tell you that story real quick. We lived just across the road here.
Yeah.
Up the,
Oh, we
Well,
lived there for 17 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, we lived down below from Martinez.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I think you're
I'd come
in it.
over here in the summer.
Yeah.
And in this building, not knowing it was going to be a gold mine per se, I'd come and we'd be looking at the floors, that somebody had built a fire and burned the floor. I remember that. Broken windows everywhere.
Yeah, yes,
It was just in disarray for sure.
Yes, it was.
And here comes a great couple with a dream.
Yeah, we dreamed. We thought, it'd be nice. And actually, me and Troy Ortega's encouraged us too, because people were starting to come to the Santuario more, and there was no place to eat. And they would ask them what's closed, get coffee or anything. So that helped us a lot. That helped us a lot. So that's what we did. We started it, and we said, no, I went to work in Santa Fe, and then I moved up here, we moved up here in 64. I lived in Santa Fe for 1 year.
Oh, Santa Fe.
So,
for a
yeah,
year.
we lived for a year, but I got a job, pretty good job, then right away, because I had the experience.
And you loved cooking, you said. Did you get a job in the kitchen or something before? No, huh?
I did accounting.
Well, so how did it come out for you? You loved the kitchen, you said.
Yeah, I was in the kitchen about 7 years. Then when here, in fact, in the 70s I was in there. I loved it. I ran the shifts. We had a lot of people. We were busy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when we got to divorce, I had to move up front, and that's when I did. But now I'll go back there sometimes. What do you need? I just
Sure.
and I time things. So we had, actually a lot of the women I never thought, but they would talk about, no, she was great. We
Good.
loved working under her. She was right by us.
Good. And then you decided, let's do this. The banks finally said, okay, a little hesitant.
Very hesitant.
Very hesitant. But
Well, we used to borrow money, and then pay a loan, borrow money, pay a loan.
yeah.
And then they didn't, and then finally, oh gosh, I gotta think of his name. He was the mayor of Fox, of Los Taos, and he was working with savings and loans, and somebody talked to him on a golf tournament to come and talk to Art to help them, and we got a small business loan. And when that came in, that took all the pressure off.
Yeah.
They came through Albuquerque, it was through Dallas. Because we didn't have to borrow from little by little, and we could pay, reasonable payments. So that really, really helped us. But that it was people, working, helping locally that wanted to succeed, So it did. But the one thing I enjoyed was when the bank president calls me and says, "I want a reservation."
Ooh, how sweet it is.
I wanted to say no because we got turned down. I just said, and Art looked and he said,
No.
let's say yes. No, we agreed, but it was really hard. It was,
Sure.
and it was good because I worked mostly weekends. Laura started school and at Holy Cross. And then,
Wow.
and
So you fixed it up initially to open up in 1965, and they called you La Patrona de Rancho de Chimayó eventually, huh?
What happened is when you say the Mrs. J, I need to tell you where that got started.
How did that get started?
Actually, it was for Mr. Jaramillo too. We didn't want maybe call us old-fashioned. We didn't want them saying,
Mr.
yeah,
Mrs.
no, Florence or Flo or whatever. I mean, customers, I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about staff.
Oh, okay.
And so the easiest thing we said, just call it, you call Mr. J or Mrs. J. And we didn't think that that was irreverent. No, it wasn't. It was okay.
But that it was going to stick.
Wouldn't stick. And they liked it. They thought, yeah, that's good. We like that. So that started from the very beginning, but it was mostly just so that you would just be, I can't get the word I want, but but anyway, strangely enough, this year I found out that there was a Mrs. J outside of D.C. A lady ran it for 25 years. This man came by and told me he was a waiter there. And then at Christmas time, this guy came by from Ohio and said his dad ran called Mrs. J, a restaurant there. But this was just, to be polite and not, so they wouldn't.
Sure.
So I didn't know that. That was very interesting.
And you went with the flow.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
No
yeah,
pun
we
intended.
did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The customers that was different. You know what I mean?
And the one thing you've realized, way back in the day, you said this restaurant, and I'm going to quote you, and I'll tell you who I'm quoting. This restaurant is one place. The way of life here stays alive. That's a great quote. And that story, I get that from a great article that Pasatiempo just published a while back, an article written by Cheryl, I believe her name is Alters Jameson.
Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful article. I got to compliment her on that because she really told the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and then some. Because you are, like I said earlier, the epitome of class and charm and grace. So thank you for that again. But yeah, the article was wonderful.
Yeah, we did. We wanted to be authentic.
Yeah.
We were the first one that put New Mexican restaurant. That's what it was, food.
Yeah.
And then several restaurants did it after us, but we were the first one to do that. And that's what we're having. That is a difference from Mexican food, and a lot of times, a lot of the restaurants who have New Mexican food, they put some Mexican food with it.
Yeah.
And we said, no, this had to be authentic.
Bravo.
And that's what we worked the hardest for.
Bravo.
And it was authentic.
And still today, that's why we come here. We come here to Chimayó, my old birthplace. Gotta go to Rancho, gotta go. And sure enough, the flavor and everything hasn't changed, has not changed. Congratulations to that. And congratulations on the article, too, before I forget. That was just pretty good. Tell me about the author. You know the author a little bit, Carolyn Jameson. She did a good job on this article, Pasatiempo. I hate to keep going back to it, but it's just telling about your career, per se, and when you met Arturo and how you guys just jived, and here you are. It's beautiful. I can't congratulate you enough, that's for sure. But back to the folks that have visited this place. And every time I come here, it's packed. Thousands of people have been by here, haven't
Yes.
they?
At least, because we do over 100,000 a year.
That's what I wanted to know, the
Yeah,
numbers.
Yeah,
My
we do,
gosh.
we do. And it's hard now because the people don't want to work. That's what's hard now.
That's the other question I had for you.
Yeah, that's just hard.
Employees,
because,
how do you handle
they do. They
the
come in,
turnover?
yeah, and then and we're strict.
Hi there. The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez proudly welcomes our new sponsors. That's right, La Mexicana Tortilla Company. Oh boy, it'll bring you the greatest food and taste and service every time. Thank you to you and Flor de las Flores Dispensary, your go-to spot for care and good service. Thank you. Gracias for supporting our show and community. Really nice to hear that. Stay tuned and stay connected.
What do you mean your DJ canceled? Don't panic, Lessman's can help you. You can rent a sound system for your event at Lessman's Pro Audio and Lighting, and they can also show you how to use the sound system you rent. Don't forget, Lessman's also has film equipment, projectors, screens, plus much more. Make your event more memorable with Lessman's Pro Audio and Lighting. Visit Lessman's today at 5413 Lomas Northeast or online at lessmans.com or call 268-2111. That's 268-2111. Lessman's Mean Gear.
Well, the thing is that, in fact, a lot of my other employees said, no, this is time she gets something else because you've done everything you can.
Yes.
And I have, because they've had hard times. I take a lot of things into consideration. If you had a hard bringing up family or whatever, you know, and you never know, so you get that one shot and it can make a lot of difference. I have so many come back and tell me that are either lawyers, doctors, especially, you know, they work at the lab or Santia, and they'll come back and tell me, I worked here 30 years ago.
Wow.
I can't remember faces, but now I'm not remembering names. And they'll say, you know what? I always thought whatever I learned there was nothing, but I used everything I learned there, from dishwashing to busing to waiter.
That's the deal.
That's what they said. And I said, that's what it takes. I tell them, they say, a dishwasher. I says, what do you mean just a dishwasher? You're handling the most of my inventory. That's expensive. You're handling a lot of expensive stuff, dishes, everything. That's important to me.
Good for you.
You have to, that's how I look at it. You're not just a dishwasher. We're going to advance one now. But you know what I mean? We try to do if they want to. But you can go from there to a busser. There's 2 or 3 bussers in the cookbook that Cheryl has. And then you can be a waiter and make as much as you want. I don't expect them, especially if they get good educations, to stay forever.
Sure.
But it is a stepping stone, and it opens doors for them to learn how to talk to people. You know what I'm saying? You work with people all the time, and some of they're very sheltered when they come to me. You know, I remember when we opened first to interview, this girl walked in. I wasn't there because I was working in Santa Fe, and she had rollers in her hair. And Art told me, he says, lady, could you go home and take those off and come back and see what you look like?
Oh, God.
And sure, I mean, there was no jobs here, and
Sure.
and you know, and she came back, she got hired, you know, but just little things like that we've worked with a lot of people now, you know, they've grown, they've gone to school or have families, you know.
Yep, sure. That's amazing, though, the stories that you could remember from way back when. We're going to talk more about that in a second, but I just thought about, you're an integral part of the community, of course. They depend on you, and you lift spirits. You've had employed people here that have helped them. And also, on the community front, the post office. Can we talk about that? Oh, my gosh. That burnt to the ground how many years ago, and still down on the ground. At least they cleaned up the ashes. And you had a lot to do with that, trying to help the community here. Take this, take that. I'll be happy to help, because people are tired of going to Santa Cruz for their mail.
I don't know where it is right now. I just got a call this morning for a representative, our representative of Washington. She wants a meeting on February 14th. That's
Valentine's Day. Sweetheart of a deal.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I told her, I told Sue Ellen, call her, pick another day.
Yeah, this is your...
we have a lot of twos that come, couples, or maybe even senior citizens, you know what I mean? It's not, and things like that. And I said, you know, pick another day. I don't, it's got political, and I hate to say that, but that's what happened. But I don't know, right now, it's between Santa Fe County and Rio Ribe, right? But then Santa Fe County was going to use the little school down there that was for,
Elementary?
Yeah, no, not elementary. It was like community, like your 4-year-olds, what do you call them?
Yes.
And it ran for
Like
years.
daycare kind of?
It was a very good school. It got the children started to go to first grade, you know. But we had a meeting there, and I don't know. It's right across from the fire station. And I hate to tell you, we still have speeders here. Iowa's one of the worst, probably. But anyway, oh, God, that was terrible. But anyway, it was speeding, and they drive fast. And then if you're going to turn in down there, and then turn out, you're going to need a light.
Yeah.
And they're not going to bother with the light. I don't know for sure.
At least a caution light.
Well, anyway, we had then Santa Fe County called and said, it's a deal, we're going to do it. Okay. I mean, I didn't want it to sound like I was the only one, but these people are desperate. I mean, they want their own post office, and I think we need it. I firmly believe, I think that our forefathers are going nuts in their graves.
Yeah.
They fought for electricity, for gas, everything to come into this community, okay? And they got a telephone, and they've got their post office. That post office has been there when Grandpa was living here and all that. That's how long it's been there. You know what I'm saying?
It's a piece of the community, more than just
Right.
the post office.
Oh, I mean, that's what it is. People would venture there. So I don't know. So I offered the shed part of it. I don't know. And I had a rough year last year. And so I said, let's, so then she met with the post office is not owned by the government anymore.
Oh.
It's a separate corporation. So when it said that was a deal, I says, well, if that's what they're going to do, I'm not going to fight it. We need it. That's all I want, okay? But what happened is now is they said it's going to be condemned. You could get sick there, and I don't know about that. I didn't know that. Somehow, I'm so grateful that the seniors have finally stepped up here. They used to have a Chimayó community, business people like the Ortegas, Trujillos, all of them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They would meet to make. That's how things happened here. Okay. So anyway, they've gotten involved, and the Chimayó Community Center is going to get over $1 million, and it's going to be really nice. They need places for the senior citizens to go. Now I wish they had a bus to take them. Some of them are living alone, and you know what happens? It's just not good. It's not good for them. You need a place other than McDonald's just to go sit with your friends, talk. Yeah, hang out.
Yeah.
Have a cup of coffee, have lunch.
Yeah.
Every day they do lunch. They train you to make art, make weaving, or do weaving, and do jewelry. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, just for fun. You know what I mean?
Pass the time.
But now they are going to get that done. Now they went, I understand, before the legislature, but I don't know if I'm right that the legislature told them it was a county thing.
It was a what?
It's the county that has.
Oh, the county.
I know.
Well, it sits right in Santa Fe County and Rio Arriba County.
Yeah, it's in Rio Arriba County. My building is.
Officially. Oh,
it's in. That's what it is.
I see.
But anyway, so I don't know. Then I got a call from someone that's really been helping me locally, and she said, we need to visit. We need to go talk to those people. I said,
Done.
tell me when now. And I'm sorry you waited so long. But after the first of the year, it's hard for me. In fact, I'm working on closing the year in my own personal, and that'll be off my mind. I says, just tell me when you want. She's an architect. She's born and raised here.
Good.
Wonderful person. She was the secretary of all the building for Richardson. So she's a very smart woman. And she said, and I told her, I had an a builder that I think could do it, come within reason, but and the docks there, I didn't want to look like I was the only one. I was trying it, but I offered it for the longest time. I've got a 30-foot space, 3,200 feet, that they could just use it, and I would give them a bathroom until they did something. I didn't care. I wasn't even going to charge them.
Wow.
And they wouldn't do that. So,
What was the deal? Politics again.
Then I realized after my first meeting, this is going into politics, and I'm not going to get into politics.
Right.
But I kept going to meetings and saying what I thought, that these people deserve. If Cordova, Truchas, all these little towns on the way can have, Condillo is with us, but could have their own post office, God, Chimayó is it's better, there's businesses here. I mean, my secretary, they have to go down there every day. They have to close at 4 o'clock. Here, we're here till 5.
What do you see for this post office? Are you going to see it called once it gets on its feet, so to speak?
Oh, it'll be a heaven. I think it would be. These people will be so happy. In fact,
can we call it the Jaramillo post office?
No, it's Chimayó.
Chimayó post office.
Everything should be for the community. That's how I feel.
Yes.
I mean, I've lost so many elderlies over the years, and these people are great. I mean, when I think of the women who did the plastering here on these roofs and did weavings and did farming and cooking, and hauling water, they were very strong, these women. And I thought I couldn't believe it from the beginning. I should have, because my mother came from that in Canada, and we went there for a summer. And all the people in the farms like that, they lived on what they had. And they didn't need the government,
That's right. That's right.
and we don't need the government. We need the people.
Need the people. And that's what started out this whole thing. When you opened the restaurant, you relied on the local farmers.
Yeah.
And they poured their hearts in, and you bought the chiles, you bought the corn.
Yeah.
You guys were marvelous to do all of this. And
They
give
got
us hope.
jobs. Yeah, they got houses. They own their own houses. They own.
You're almost as big as an employer as the Los Alamos Laboratory.
Well,
You've employed quite a few people.
I will
over the
tell you,
years.
at one time, we were the biggest, other than the hospital in Espanola.
Wow.
We were the biggest, and I think we're still there,
I'm sure.
other than the hospital.
About
'cause,
how
yeah,
many employees
but
do you have? And
we have
had?
65.
Wow, that's quite an accounting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But and most of them live right here or in Espanola. They don't, live out of town.
Well, when we've been here, they're pleasant. I haven't had one wait person be rude or be, off somewhere. They're right there, focused, and you've taught them that. Have you had a class or a seminar on new hires to say this is the way we do it?
we do
taught
it.
'em.
We have meetings coming up, and
And
I used to do a big meeting with everybody, and I says, they're not listening.
Yeah.
They're talking, they're visiting, catching up. I said,
Yeah.
no, we're going to go by department, and we're very strong on it. We'll be that way. That's it. That's how it's going to be. We tell them, and now we go on individual, every department. This is what you're responsible. And, I didn't become a teacher, but I think I've taught people all these years.
Oh, yes, you have. Are you kidding? You are a teacher. You are a teacher. And not only to your direct students, per se, but to the people who visit you and admire you, Flo. And I be one of them. Always, always. How you just stick with it. You have this muscle up somewhere, the tenacity and all of that it takes. And as I say, the grace. You don't insult people. That's why they work with you, and that's why you're a success, no doubt about it, at least from where I sit. Bravo. And you even got an award, and I'm trying to remember that award you got here as one of the best places in the whole United States of America, the James Beard Foundation's America's Classic Award. That was pretty heavy duty, huh? Nice awards and recognitions all over the place. So yeah, anybody that comes here will never be disappointed. I can vouch for
really
that. So anything else that you'd like me to ask? One forgets, I get into your explanations one thing or another, and I forget the real deal about the arts that you have here. It's just wonderful. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to ask you. It was a problem here in Chimayó for the longest time of heroin addiction and taking lives. I remember a cousin up there, Sandoval, 15-year-old, boom, dead. And it went on and on. Even Father Roca, during his sermons, would say, stop this crazy drugs. And he went on, and he was so heartfelt on that message. I think it helped a little. I don't know, but where is it today? Are we still facing the same problem?
And that's sad, because what we didn't cover is we used to meet here. We formed a committee and got the police involved. And we got the feds and financing came to help us. And we had one of the biggest raids here. Several people went to jail.
Oh, wow.
One of the things that it did, a lot of good things, is that people were okay with it. People living in the home, when you had a druggie, were afraid of them. They were frightened of them. They threatened them. Now the grandma or what? Now, when it started over again, the grandma would call for help for the kid, get him to the hospital, or the child, or it's back. I think it's even worse. But I know that when we fought it, we at one time, Espanola police couldn't come over to Santa Fe section. We got that all passed. State police were able to. We're losing the state police. The governor's moving all these people down to Albuquerque. And I don't care if she can hear me say that, because even the police here are upset in Espanola. I had a retired policeman say to me, I don't know what she's thinking. I grew up here. He's probably your age. Went to school here, graduated, was a policeman. Now he works, it's not police work, but not. And anyway, he said, my kids graduated. They have wonderful jobs. I have a wonderful home here. But she's pulling a lot of our people. Albuquerque's got a lot of the state police from all over. They got their own police force. They got their own sheriffs. We don't have it. And
Or is our substation, at least?
we have a substation, but they don't hardly use it. We fought for that. And then we can cross over counties now.
Oh, good. That helps.
Yeah, that helps. But now the state police are not on call here. We're on call from Santa Fe County. It takes them an hour or more to get here. But state police, because I always talk to them when they come here, and they say, Florence, just call us. We'll come for you.
Hi there. The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez proudly welcomes our new sponsors. That's right, La Mexicana Tortilla Company. Oh boy, it'll bring you the greatest food and taste and service every time. Thank you to you and Flor de las Flores Dispensary, your go-to spot for care and good service. Thank you. Gracias for supporting our show and community. Really nice to hear that. Stay tuned and stay connected.
What do you mean your DJ canceled? Don't panic, Lessman's can help you. You can rent a sound system for your event at Lessman's Pro Audio and Lighting, and they can also show you how to use the sound system you rent. Don't forget, Lessman's also has film equipment, projectors, screens, plus much more. Make your event more memorable with Lessman's Pro Audio and Lighting. Visit Lessman's today at 5413 Lomas Northeast or online at lessmans.com or call 268-2111. That's 268-2111. Lessman's Mean Gear.
Hi there again, and welcome back to the Nelson Martinez Spanglish Show. It's actually a little Spanish, a little English, suit yourself. We're having a great time. We're having so much positive feedback. We've only been on the air since Thanksgiving of 2024. Imagine that. Already we've got all kinds of followers, all kinds of views. So we appreciate it very much. And we've also picked up some sponsors. Just a 15-second commercial to tell you about the things that are happening that are good for you. Más o menos, just so you'll know. So if you want, by the way, have a business you want to promote, come on board. You're more than welcome. And you're going to reach a lot of people with your product. Okay, thank you for tuning in as well.
The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez is a video podcast that features interviews with prominent people. A former news anchor for Channel 7 in Albuquerque now hosts this show to share his insights and conversations with a New Mexico and worldwide audience.
Okay, welcome back to the Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez. I think you remember me from Action 7 News many, many years.
The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez. With guests like Noberta Frescas, Val de la O, New Mexico musicians and artists, politicians, judges, actors, and more. The Spanglish Show with Nelson Martinez, a dynamic new video podcast series, highlighting successful and influential figures from Albuquerque. The show dives into topics such as success, music, politics, and art, offering engaging conversations with notable guests. Drawing on over 17 years of experience as a news anchor for KOAT TV Channel 7, Nelson brings a seasoned perspective to his hosting. Website: nelsonmartineztv.com. Coffee cups available for only $20.